Welcome to the Beef. Is the first time here?
First time Biff, yeah. I think I've had films that I've shown here before, but I haven't been able to come. So
Okay. I saw that you make a lot of biopics as Ami, Maradona, Senna, Federer, and now you change completely of subject. So why?
I've done lots of films over the years. I've done lots of different things. So originally my background, I started in fiction. So I wrote and directed dramas. I've made TV series. I've done commercials and court-metrage. And so one part of my life, I made some documentaries about Senna, Amy, and Maradona. They're the most famous films. But I've always made fiction. And so really this film, 2073, I wanted to make a film about what's going on in the world now. And I wanted to make a film about, for me, what are the most important issues and who are the most important people. And for me, there are like investigative journalists around the world who are the most important people right now with everything happening politically. For me, they're more important than sports people, musicians, or anyone else, or even politicians or anything. So that's why I had to make this film.
And what was the starting point? Why now?
In a way, the starting point, well, see, if you say why now, it's too late. You have to make a film from a long time ago to make it relevant to now. Mm-hmm. And I would say 10 years ago in the UK, we had Brexit. In my head, that's when it started. Like, why is this happening? Why are people lying? Why are they saying these things on television which have no basis? And why is no one on the TV shows saying you're lying? That's not true. So here we are, 10 years later, we had Brexit. There's not one positive thing that came out of it. But the thing that was blamed was immigration, migrants. All of these people were blamed. And did that get better? No. Has that changed? No. But they pulled us out of Europe for some reason. And that playbook, that way of misinformation and money that was coming into politics from outside and no one knew where, one of the journalists who revealed that was Carol Cadwallader for The Guardian and The Observer, and she's in our film. So she talks about how misinformation was used to trick people into voting, but also she said it was like the biggest fraud in an election in the UK for 100 years. It was lying, it was cheating, it was corruption. The next thing that happened was Trump got elected using a similar sort of style and technique. And here we are back again with Trump in power. So 5 years ago, during lockdown, I started to make a film and I started interviewing journalists and I started collecting information from social media and just figuring out somehow I'm going to turn this into a movie. So it's taken me 5 years to make it. The film 2073 premiered at Venice last year. Now it's showing here at BIFF. But now the film's about today. But to make a film about today, you have to start making a film a long time ago.
And why the date of 2073?
I wanted to make the film set in the near future. It's part of the genre of sci-fi and dystopian literature is you always have a number like 1984, 2001, or Back to the Future is set in 1987. And, you kind of have, that's part of the genre. So I thought, okay, let's set it in the future when my kids are a certain age. It's not that far away, but it's not now. And it's not 2000 or 4093 when everyone lives on Mars. It's like now, but different. That's what I was looking at. And what I wanted to do really, the kind of idea was, can I make a film set in the future using footage from now? And would you kind of feel that it's very dystopian and futuristic? That was the kind of big idea that I wanted to play with. But I also wanted to mix it with fiction. So we have a lot of footage, a lot of stories, a lot of characters from around the world, but there's no central character. And so, as you say, with Senna, Amy, Diego Maradona, Federer, there's one central character. If I do a fiction film that has a central character, you know who you're following. With this film, I knew there wasn't going to be one central country or character or theme. It's not just about the climate. It's not just about authoritarianism. It's not just about surveillance. It's about everything and the connection. So then I thought I will script the central character. And I will have an actor. And I got a brilliant actor, Samantha Morton, who's also acted in a lot of futuristic films, like Minority Report. So there's kind of like a link. She's a precog. She's someone in Minority Report who looks into the future and sees which crimes are going to happen. So I thought, it could be kind of fun to have someone like that in the film.
And why
who is
not,
the emotional heart of the film.
why not to choose between it's a documentary or it's a movie only?
Why?
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 Exactly.
Exactly. I do what I want. I'm a film director. I do whatever I want to do. And I wanted to do something different. I wanted to mix it because it's also, when you make a film, you're also challenging yourself as a storyteller. It's like, what's the best way to tell a story? I wouldn't, if I had made a documentary entirely out of archive, would I have been invited to this festival? Would I be talking to you now? So part of it is like, if you make a genre film, then you reach a different audience. And the audience that watched the film yesterday were really young people were there. And I was like, this is great because actually they're the most important people because they can see everything happening in the world. But often people are not talking to them about what's happening in the world. So I've had screenings all over the kind of world in different countries with different audiences. And every time I go there, you're like, well, the mixing of styles is the reason why I'm in the room, because it affects people in a different way, but also it gives you a chance to recover. The drama sequences are there because the documentary sequences are really hard and tough, and it's like a punch in the stomach, or somebody here said yesterday, it's like a slap in the face, which is what I wanted. I want to shock people. It's also like, it's a genre film, and the film's like a horror film, but it's factual. Sometimes the truth is scarier than pretend. And people like the idea of seeing horror films or scary films, but they know they can turn it off. It's not real. They go home. Everything's fine. So I was like, well, I'll give you a scary film that is based on real things happening around the world. And it's happening over there. And we should care because it's going to happen here soon. And maybe it's already happening here. And if it's not happening to you, it might be happening to someone else, but it'll happen to someone you know soon.
When you make this kind of movie, what you expected? Shocking, of course, talking about the subject, but more than that.
So then I feel like the first stage is like, give people information, let them understand what's happening. And then you can start talking to people to figure out, well, what can I do? What can you individually do? What can you do? What can you say to your kids or to your mother or your sisters? And what can you say within a wider community? And then how do we change things? How do we get more of us come together to change, whether it's, how do we change the political system or the laws? Because they maybe are not protecting us. And the people who should be protecting us, for whatever reason, are not bringing in the laws that protect us. I'll give you an example. The film's dealing with technology, surveillance, authoritarianism, but also about the climate. I'm here in Brussels. Every morning, I turn on my phone to see what's the weather like. Is it cold? Is it hot? Every morning here, I get a warning saying how bad your air quality is. It's the worst of anywhere I've been in. Why? Today, my phone app said, the air quality is a 10. Horrible. Why is your air so bad? You're a rich country. You've got all these politicians everywhere driving around in their limos. It doesn't make any sense. Like, your air quality is worse than London. It's a much bigger city. All of this is part of this kind of weird dystopian thing that we're living in. Of, you know it. Everyone I've spoken to knows it. What can we do about it? How do we change that? In our film, we have these red skies where there's forest fires. But here, you've got pollution, and it's going to make you sick. It's going to make you ill. Children are going to get asthma. All of this is stuff that we're like, well, how do we change this? It's not going to get better unless we force them to change things to make it better. And that's what's interesting. I never thought Brussels would have the worst air quality of the last 10 countries that I've been to. But you do. So I think you're going to have to do something about it. And don't expect them to do it on your behalf, is what I'm saying.
It's not difficult to do something else after this. Because you work on a subject so big and so important. So after that.
So now I'm in like, okay, so there's one thing where you have an idea and then you try and make it. It's really difficult making a film like this. It's much easier for me to get the money to make a biog about a famous footballer or something. This is much more difficult. I still have to do it because I'm of a certain age now. I'm in my 50s. I have teenage children. And I've been lucky. I've been successful. I've, done all right. So what do you do with like what little power you have? You can take the easy option or you take the more difficult option. I'm like, I always take the difficult one. Then you make something. And then now I'm in the more difficult phase. Getting a film seen is more difficult than even making the film. Because so for me, this is like personal because I want to talk about it to people and show it to people. And that is like, that stage never ends. If you've made a film that is interesting or is successful, it's like having a kid. and it's there with you forever, right? And so it's the fun part in one way, but it's also like, so in terms of what I do next, I may never make another film. I don't care. I'm really glad I made this one. You know, I felt like that making it was, I was making it as if it might be the last film I ever make, because I feel like I'm going to chuck it all in here. And if I'm going to annoy people in power, I'm going to annoy tech companies. I'm going to annoy people who take money from tech companies.
Mm-hmm.
Like certain film festivals wouldn't show our film because they're sponsored by them. This is like the world we're in. The tech companies and these people are everywhere. So I'm like, I may never get a chance to make a film again. That's kind of the point of the film, isn't it? If I just make films about footballers, it's safe. You're allowed to keep doing that. If you make something that questions certain people, it becomes more difficult. So I don't know. I'll be fine. I'll do something. I'll go and study
Do
architecture.
you think you could have a side effect?
I'm not in a big hurry to go to the US right now. Are you?
No.
Well, there you go. Why not?
Why I will be?
That's the thing. This is all happening everywhere. Yeah. So, sorry, what was your question?
Just to know, you're talking about the reaction in terms of financing and for the new project following the festival, sponsoring and so on. Are you afraid you don't find any more?
No, that's what I mean. You have to make films, to be an artist, to be anything creative, you just have to be brave. You have to follow your thing. There's always a way. There's money. There's no problem. There's enough money to go around. There's always enough money to make films. There's enough money to make art. There's enough money to feed poor people. There's enough money. It's not that. The problem is a few people have lots and some people have nothing. And I think in the end, why do we do anything? Why do I make films? I make films because I'm an artist, but I'd like to try to make the world a bit better. So if that's a risk and you take a gamble, then that's good. That's fine. That's what I like to do.
You done the same with the same aspect inside your different other movies? You try to
there's always something political in there. There's always something there. Like, for example, Amy is about a singer, but it's about the entertainment business. It's about the kind of way that they use up young women, particularly, can be mistreated, or how she was mistreated, how tabloid media used her, how the audience enjoyed seeing her being humiliated. Because you click on those websites, you look at those photographs, you look at the articles when someone is bad, you go to see someone who's drunk, because you're thinking she's going to be terrible. It'll be funny. We'll laugh at her. So each one of those films, there's something in there which I'm saying there's a story, but there's also like a little thing in there to say, what are we doing as people? Why are we treating someone like that? And Senna was very much about, what did he believe in and what did he stand up for? And in his case, he was trying to help that. He's very wealthy. He's in Formula One, but he was also trying to help Brazil, who's coming out of a military dictatorship and who has a lot of poverty and extremes of wealth. And he was doing something to help the poor people, to make them feel positive, make them feel good. But also he sets up a foundation. He changed safety in Formula One. You can do a lot. Even if he died at 34. People can do a lot in a short amount of time. So I think every film has something sort of hidden underneath there that, it's entertainment, but there's a kind of bigger element that is like positive change that we can change through art, through cinema.
So it means for the next project, you have also an idea?
I have a few projects and they're kind of always a bit different. This has been a very heavy film. I'll do maybe a little lighter film. Even then, I start off thinking it's going to be really funny and it gets quite serious. I can't help it. I think I'm somehow born this way. So the thing that I'm doing is kind of a little small film that I thought I'd make quickly. But actually, I look at it now and it's like a comment on kind of the political system in England in the 80s. And there was a lot of corruption and there was a lot. So it started off as one thing. And then the story comes out and you go, the reason I'm interested in that is because when I was younger, I had no power to do anything about these things. Now I'm older and I have a little bit of power. I can reveal a story, which is a massive political cover-up that happened in my country. And I'm like, I can do something about it now because I have the ability to tell stories and to get people to pay for it and to show it. And then somehow subconsciously, there's a little bit more about social change hidden underneath a sports film.
In conclusion, in one sentence, what would you like to say about your?
I think it's a film set in the future. 2073 is a film set in the future, but is very much a warning about the world we live in today.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very
Cheers.
much.
Thank you.